Welcome back to Tipping Point. I'm your host, Riley Lewis, filling in for Kara McKinney. President Trump pledged many important things at his rally in Coachella, California on Saturday. But perhaps the most important by far was his pledge to make America safe once again. Crime is spiraling out of control these days, largely because violent criminals and thugs have exploited our wide open southern border in order to prey on the lives of innocent American citizens. It's disgusting. And between the drug traffickers, human traffickers, gang members, and suspected terrorists with ties to groups like ISIS, we've clearly got a nasty, violent crime problem on our hands. And the current administration refuses to even acknowledge it. That's why we need a strong president who will support law enforcement, acknowledge the problem, work to solve it, and deport criminal aliens who target our citizens, and in addition, will crack down on the trafficking of drugs, people, and weapons into our country. It's happening at record levels. And our fellow citizens are sick and tired of watching this country devolve into a third world developing nation. And for those of us who want to bolster public safety and feel safe once again, the choice in November is perfectly clear. It's quite obvious. President Trump has a proven track record of bolstering public safety, and he can do it yet again. He really can, as long as we trust in him yet again. Joining us now to discuss is former law enforcement officer Mike Pugliese, the founder of the Pugliese Law Firm. Mike, thank you for being here today.
Riley, thank you for having me. Yeah, this is just amazing to watch now. The Trump team has not only brought their A team, but they moved it up now to tackle football. And unfortunately to the Harris team, they're still playing touch. They are losing. They are imploding. And you're seeing even the J.D. Vance, getting to your point about crime, what did he tell ABC's Raditz when she was trying to say, well, it's only a handful of apartment complexes in Colorado that are being invaded. And he says, do you hear yourself? And that's the whole message that we saw in Coachella. Do you hear yourself? You know, we heard from Dennis Quaid, coming out. Are you better off than you were 4 years ago using the Reagan line? Well, that applies to everything, not just the economy, but the criminal conduct. We all are unsafe. We all feel the pains of being unsafe. We're locked in our homes. We're scared to go out in traffic. We don't know if we're going to be robbed, carjacked, home invaded. A number of things. It's totally unsafe. We heard another person at that rally in Coachella, which, by the way, OAN was well represented there, and I was proud to see that. But we heard from Gloria Romero, the former Senate Majority Leader in California, a Democrat. She switched teams. Who did she switch teams to? The Trump team. She endorsed Donald Trump. Why? She said because we fled. She was speaking for the Latinos. We fled from those elements, the criminal elements in Venezuela, the criminal elements in Mexico, the drug cartels in El Salvador, Nicaragua. We fled all that. We want to get away from that. And what is the Harris team telling us? Well, we're bringing that up through open borders. We're welcoming them in. We're doing nothing. Matter of fact, we're having bail reform. We even heard that from the sheriff in Coachella. He said it's because of bail reform. Basically, we have no bail, that we're allowing people out that have committed crimes. We saw it with maybe a suspected third assassination attempt. This guy that was arrested this weekend was out on the streets now. They don't know exactly who he is. We know he's a sovereign citizen, which, those are weird characters, but he's out. Why? Because there's no bail for misdemeanors which they could hold him for. And that's what we're seeing over and over. And people are tired of this. And Donald Trump, he successfully tied her in not only to the Biden administration, that she wants to do nothing different from the Joe Biden administration, but now she's back tied to explaining her record on what she did to California, the failures in California, which, like you said, includes a high crime rate, murder going through the roof. The cartels are openly running the show, and we have to beckon to them and be scared. And people have had enough. They're putting their foot down, and they're joining the Trump team. And by God, we got a leader, not only Donald Trump, but J.D. Vance, too. It's just amazing to watch this come together. And by the way, the Kamala team, gosh, it is just imploding. Last week was a horrible week. First thing today, Monday morning, what do we see in the Harris team? Well, what do we see, Riley? We saw, number one, that she's now in a feud between the Biden team and the Harris team competing with each other. And Bill Clinton, who was in my neck of the woods in Georgia, visited a local McDonald's. They didn't know who he was. And he's supposed to be the one that bring her team together and rally it up here in the final home stretch. I'm pumped up. I'm very proud to be a MAGA supporter. And by God, we're taking this country back. And it's just a welcoming scene, but we can't let our guard down. Get out and vote.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it really is about saving this country at this point and holding the people who've robbed us of our public safety and our standard of living accountable for what they've done. And one of the things that was really interesting, so we were going around all day long. We showed up bright and early. I mean, we were there at 7 a.m. and we left it right after, like 7 p.m. We were there all day long talking to people on the ground. And one of the things that was most interesting to me and was really refreshing to see was the awakening happening among Democrats, among independents. I had more than a handful of people come up to me and say this is their first Trump rally ever. They are former lifelong Democrats or progressives who have finally seen the light, and it's because some of them, in some cases, were either robbed, their home was burglarized, their car was stolen or something, or they were carjacked. You had victims of crime, people who had suffered under the Biden-Harris administration, who were shamed for it, by the way. We're talking about victims like old ladies. Versus this one older woman came up to me, and she said that she had never felt so surprised because when she came to this Trump rally, she was welcomed in. People loved her. They listened to her. They saw her. They heard her stories about being victimized by violent criminals in her own neighborhood. And unlike the Democrats who shamed her and who tried to silence her, we actually brought her into the fold. And there were other people there who were just like that, who said, I've had enough. I've tried to support the Democrat Party for my whole life. I've tried to reason with them, but time and time again, they have abandoned me. They have left us. And that's one of the big takeaways, I think, from this rally is many moderate Democrats, they haven't really changed. The party's become radical. The party's been taken over by communists, Marxists, globalists, people who empathize with the criminal instead of empathizing with the law-abiding, tax-paying citizens. So I think it's really important to note here that Trump, this message of making America safe again, it doesn't just appeal to Republicans, conservatives, MAGA patriots. It appeals to so many other people, and he's building a coalition right now. It is remarkable to see a Republican finally get strong and tough on crime in a way that is effective, and it's really resonating with people. So that was amazing to see, and I imagine as someone like yourself who formerly worked in law enforcement, it must be nice. The idea to have a president again who will actually support law enforcement instead of attacking them, dehumanizing, defunding them, right? We need someone again who will actually prop them up and help them to help us stay safe, right?
And you're 100% right. And we saw that by the way the Border Patrol, they unanimously endorsed President Trump for the 2024 election.
Yes.
And we're seeing that over and over. Cops are openly speaking out, hey, give us our dignity back, number one. Let us be policemen. Let us live in our oath. Let us do our oath and protect the citizens. Let us wear the badge proudly again.
Yes.
That's what these officers are asking. We don't want to be outgunned. We don't want to be outmanned. We want to get out there and do our job. And we're tired of hearing that we need to look at the predators. And these aren't just simple predators. These aren't low-rent criminals. These are thugs. These are cartel members that are openly targeting police officers. We got the TDA, the Trade Day Araga gang, Trans Day Araga gang, that are openly greenlighting the killing of police officers. And that's what these officers go out. I heard the other day that the average heart attack for a police officer is at the age of 46. This is real. This is the stress that these cops are under. And by God, you can at least give them the support that President Trump is willing to give them and protect them. And Riley, you were there at that rally this weekend, and you saw it. You saw the diversity in that crowd. You saw the whites, the blacks, the Hispanics, the Latinos, and the Asians. And it's important with the Latinos. 52% of Latino vote now is going towards President Trump. And that shows you the shift. They understand it. Like I said earlier, they fled those type of persecutions. They've left that with being under the thumb of cartel members. They understand what it's like. The average American doesn't. We're starting to get a whiff of it now. We're starting to wake up. We're starting to see it. And it's because of these rallies that we're seeing, because President Trump is doing the hard work, the heavy lifting for us, and getting out there and telling us, this is what you're going to have. This is what you're going to be as an American. This is what you're going to live under. Who wants that? None of us want it. Doesn't matter if you're white, black, yellow, orange, whatever. None of us want that. And unfortunately, that's what the Harris campaign and the media is trying to sell.